Upgrades.
Hey, it's Jorge from TeamJVS giving you a quick exclusive from Santa Barbara International Film Festival of a documentary called 76 Days. And this was, just in terms of like survival, this one was insane. So this basically is a true story of how Steve Callahan survived at sea for 76 days with basically very minimal stuff. And it's what I felt really neat about this whole story is it was told by him, but instead of it just being kind of like a sit down narrative, I loved how they kind of almost had a first person view of the raft and things that were happening, you know, when his boat went down. Obviously, the things that this man endured and how he persevered, and I don't want to say it's like 1 in a million. I don't even know what the actual like 1 in a billion, what that ratio is, but what he did and how he survived for as long as he did was remarkable. I was blown away, and just the calmness of it. One part that I truly loved about kind of like him telling his story was you kind of understood his purpose throughout all of it, and you understood that even throughout every step of the way he knew that there was a bigger picture involved, that there was a purpose for doing X, Y, or Z, or every single move that he did, you know, was very calculated. I found it just so reassuring and just so neat when even in times when I would feel, you know, I'm not a huge water person in terms of like, you know, going out and sailing by myself, but I could only imagine being stranded in the middle of the ocean, how terrifying that has to be. And you look at certain movies, you know, that have portrayed that, and just the things like, even with all his knowledge that he had, just seeing his thought process going from, you know, like one situation to the other. And I'm sure I'm hoping he downplayed it a little bit, but the way he was so calm about everything and even measuring stuff. And this kind of goes to show you how important and critical it is to truly check all your reserves and check all your backups and, you know, your emergency equipment ever so often. It was really fascinating just being able to kind of hear that whole story of him being lost at sea, and all the ups and downs. The part which I found fascinating was, I guess in his raft and in this emergency raft kit that he had, there was paper and pencil there. So he literally was journaling throughout this whole period. And it's kind of neat because you literally see some of his journal entries and he reads some of them. But it's crazy because in a sense, the way they shot it, and I kind of wonder if it was very video game induced, but in the beginning of it, you kind of see all his supply, but as he's using things, you see his supplies like diminish and almost in the screen. Like, for example, like his flares, how he had, I think it was like 12 flares in total. And when he first saw the first boat, you know, how he shot off, you know, I think it was like 6 or 7 of them. And it almost like in his inventory, like it brings it up and you just see them disappearing, which is just such a unique and cool touch to being able to extrapolate, you know, like just that visual. Instead of someone saying, yeah, he lost a flare, like literally you're seeing it vanish. I definitely found it really neat. I love the way that this story was told. And Steven was a character, you know, obviously he's the main person in this movie, in real life and in the movie, but it was just very neat just seeing him tell it. And what I found reassuring was he actually is a great storyteller, and it could be that he's a great storyteller, or that he just has such a phenomenal story that it's just fascinating to just sit down and listen and hear him problem solve certain things, hear his thought process throughout it. But overall, this movie, you know, for a documentary, I really enjoyed it. Love just kind of all the intricacies of it. There also is he also wrote a book, a New York Times, you know, bestseller, Adrift, 76 Days Lost at Sea. It actually gets me very interested in reading that book to see just how different the book is from the movie. And even though it's him telling his own story, I do wonder if, because a movie, you know, obviously you have time constraints and all that, if they truncated some of the parts, and in the book he was able to be more raw. But either way, this was a very fun and well done documentary. If you're into these type of things, I would strongly suggest it. The adventure and the storytelling alone is second to none. Like I truly enjoyed this film. If I had to rank this 1 to 10, you know, obviously I'd probably give this a strong, you know, like 7.58, around there. If I had to, you know, kind of give a number. Reason being, you know, it would probably be a solid, you know, 7.5. But I think the way it was shot and the way it was told, like that kind of bumps it up to an 8 for me. So you know what? We'll change it. We'll make it an 8 out of 10. Just because I just very much enjoyed this story and this way that it's been told. Usually when you have these survivor type stories, they almost do like a reenactment or this or that. And in this one, it was very much almost like looking at a first person shooter, which really enjoyed it. Haven't seen that too often. But have you guys seen this movie, 76 Days? Let me know what you guys think. Have you guys even know about this story? But either way, this is Jorge from Team JVS, and we'll see you next time. Peace.